Hello, it's Bernadette again with By the Book Accounting with part 2 of our Who Can I Claim series. And in this section, we're going to talk about qualifying relatives. So again, on your tax return, you are allowed to claim one exemption for each person that you file on your return. And so a lot of times I get questions about who can I claim. And we talked about in part 1, qualifying child. Now we're going to talk about a qualifying relative. So on a tax return, you can claim, as I just stated, either a qualifying child or a qualifying relative. So if you haven't seen part 1, check out part 1 to get information on the qualifying child. And in this section, we're going to talk about qualifying relatives. So who is a qualifying relative? So there are 4 tests to meet in order to be considered a qualifying relative. Those tests are: 1, they can't be a qualifying child. That's pretty self-explanatory. 2, they need to be either a member of your household or they must pass the relationship test. 3, they must the gross income test and the support test. So let's talk about it. Not a qualifying child. Pretty self-explanatory, but just to make it a little bit clearer, the person that you are trying to claim cannot be your qualifying child, nor can this person be a qualifying child to someone else. So it can't be your son or your daughter or someone else's son or daughter who they would be claiming. So as long as they're not a qualifying child for someone else, they will satisfy this test. Member of your household or the relationship test. So there's 2 parts to this test, and it's either or, not both. So they either must be related to you, and if they are related to you, they don't have to live with you. So this could be children, grandchildren, siblings, both half and step, parents, both real parents or, I don't know, biological parents and step parents, nieces and nephews, and in-laws. If these people are related to you, they do not have to live with you to satisfy this test. If they are not related to you, then they must live with you for the entire year. So let's say if you were really nice and you had a friend that fell on hard times, they needed a place to stay, and this friend stayed with you for the entire year, wasn't able to find a job, but maybe they helped out around the house or something like this, you could claim that friend on your tax return even though they're not related to you, because they were a member of your same household. And the same could be true if you were dating someone who wasn't working and that person lived with you, and they're not filing a tax return, they're not a qualifying child for someone else, then you could claim that person on your tax return as a member of your household. The gross income test, pretty simple. In order to meet this test, the person's gross income just can't exceed $39.50. So if they made $3,000 in the year, then they would pass the gross income test. If they made $4,000 that year, they do not pass the gross income test. And remember, all 4 tests have to be satisfied. And the last test is the support test. So in order to meet this test, you just need to have provided more than half of the person's support for the calendar year. So it's a little different from the qualifying child support test. It's just you have to have provided over half of that person's support. So let's say, for instance, if your parent still lives in your parents still live in their own home, but you take care of them, you provide over half of their support, they get Social Security, but it's not enough to pay the bills or whatever. If you provide more than half of the support for your parents, then you can claim them on your tax return. So again, thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, or comment to this video and share it with your friends. Again, this is Bernadette, and I'm with By the Book Accounting.